Here's a super chat from Devin Felix. Thank you for $10, Devin. Is there a way to increase the number of MSP in the ports tab? I'm trying to install Phoenix MRID on my 7-inch with the Velux F7 Cine FC. When I enable MSP and hit save all ports, get reset. Running 03 with MSP also. So I think there's more to this story than we're getting. Devin, what I would ask is, can you show me your ports tab just before you hit save? Because, hang on, plugging in. Sorry about the doo-doo. That's me, not your computer. If we go to the ports tab, if you set up your ports tab, so like Serial RX, let's put Serial RX here, and we've got TBS Smart Audio here and GPS here. If you set up your ports tab in an invalid way, like if I enable Serial RX and I enable GPS, save and reboot. What it does is it resets the ports tab. Do you see that everything in my ports tab is gone now? And I assume there's a good reason why Betaflight does this, but like from a user's perspective, that makes no freaking sense. Like if I've got my ports tab set up in some way, and then I do something invalid, it should just reject the invalid change. It shouldn't just wipe out everything. But okay, so be it. So if you're enabling MSP or something and it's rejecting it, I think you've done something else. So let's put it back the way it was. We'll just default it by typing defaults in the CLI. We'll go back to the ports tab. Oh, cool. Why did that not fix it? Okay, fine. Fair enough. I thought that would, okay. Let's make some, I don't know. Okay. Can you not enable GPS and MSP on the same port? Asks Devin Felix. I don't think so, no. So there are some times when you could have two things enabled on the same port. For example, if you have Serial RX, you can also enable telemetry on the same UART because some telemetry protocols are enabled separately from the Serial RX. So for example, if I'm doing Crossfire protocol, telemetry is baked into Crossfire. We don't need to separately enable Crossfire telemetry. And you can see here that there is no such option. But if mostly FreeSky, if I'm doing FreeSky protocol, I would enable FreeSky or SmartPort telemetry on the same UART, or I could. Actually, it's really just FreeSky telemetry that does that. Anyway, so we can enable FreeSky telemetry on the same UART that we enable Serial RX, and when we come back to the ports tab, watch, it will shut up. That should work. That's supposed to work. I don't know what my problem is. Hang on. Come on. Okay, now let's go to...
FreeSky isn't on the same UART, right? Like FreeSky would be on a separate UART.
SmartPort would. Oh, yeah. Maybe it's because of this. Old FreeSky D16 telemetry is on the same UART, isn't it?
I'm not aware of that being the case. I thought it's just all SmartPort on the other. Like it's an Fport does both ways, right? But Fport doesn't require you to enable telemetry. That's my memory.
It's been okay. You're right, but it's been so damn long since I've set this up. I swear that we used to do this. We would put telemetry on the same UART. Oh, I can't remember what I'm thinking of though. Anyway,
it would have been before me. Yeah.
Yeah, where I'm just misremembering. All right, well, let's let that go. So there are things that are valid. Okay, here's one that's definitely valid. If I do MSP plus DisplayPort, I can enable MSP and VTX MSP DisplayPort on the same UART. That's two things on the same UART, and it's valid. Usually, if you put two things on the same UART, it's invalid, and it resets the tab. So far, so good. Can you do MSP and GPS? Here we go. No, I don't think you can. I don't know why you would be able to. Nope. Reset the whole thing. Now, somebody reached out to me and showed me that if you do MSP, GPS, and black box on the same UART, it takes it. Let's see if that's true. They showed me in an email. I didn't verify it personally. Yup. What the frick is that all about? Something about enabling black box logging as a peripheral means it lets the rest of it slide. Is that true for any peripheral?
One thing to note while we're discussing this, the other thing you can't do is you can't enable MSP on 3 UARTs, right?
Yeah, we're getting there. No. Okay. So something about black box logging means it'll let it slide. But in general, if you enable 2 things on the same UART, like GPS and MSP, it resets everything. So that's one problem. You don't enable MSP and GPS on the same UART. There's no reason to do that. If you're trying to do an MSP GPS, then if I remember right, it's been a while since I did this, but I believe you enable MSP on that UART and you disable the GPS sensor input. And then you enable GPS and it just figures it out. Okay. So, the other thing, as Blunty points out, is I think there's a maximum of 3 MSP ports allowed. Can I do a 4th one? Nope. Okay, so that's the other limitation. All right, Devin Felix, hopefully that helped you solve your problem. A little bit of info about the ports tab.